get ready. Do I have a powerful, heartwarming, beautiful story about how this client, he stopped having the relationship talk with his family and got what he wanted instead. And I'm saying this relationship talk as a former psychotherapist. I helped thousands of clients as a psychotherapist, and one of my specialties was couples counseling. And the infamous relationship talk, whether it's with a partner or with your kids or your parents or your friends or whoever, it is pointless. And if you are having it over and over and over again, I want to make a suggestion to you to watch this video and have a different relationship talk. And that is what we're going to get to, which will bring you the results that you want without you lifting a finger or saying a word out loud. Welcome, my name is Rose, and welcome to The Rosey Life, where we help you free your mind and follow your heart so you live a life that you love. If you're interested in working one-on-one with me, you know what to do. Go to RoseyLife.com. And you can sign up. Another way is you can sign up for the Rosey Life course and community. And I show up every Wednesday live. So that's going to be tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Time every week. And I do record those, but I show up live to answer all your questions live. And then there is a 12-part self-paced course that helps you go from external focus to internal focus. And we cover love and relationships, your mind and body, finances, and building that confidence within. But it's more than confidence, you guys. It's that recognizing, identifying with who you really are, which is unconditional love. All right, so thank you guys for subscribing to The Rosey Life, by the way. And I noticed that there's more subscribers coming in. And for all of you who have not subscribed and are watching my videos, hit the subscribe button. And thank you guys so much for liking the videos. I appreciate you guys so much. And you guys, the emails are just pouring in with success stories. And I mean, it's in the comments on my videos. And you guys are so freaking cool, okay? So let's dive into this. You guys know, I've said in other videos that I am a former psychotherapist, and one of my specialties was working with couples. Now, many people come in, right, whether it's in relationships with family, friends, your significant other, whoever, right, and they came in with their complaints. And before seeing me, they said that they would have the famous relationship talk. Well, who was notorious for actually spearheading them most of the time were women. Sometimes the men would do it too, though, you guys, because I can't even say it was one or the other, but it's mostly that a lot of women would do it, but their men would come in and do it too. And if not, they would have the relationship talk right in front of me. And what I mean by the relationship talk is discussing your complaints with your partner or your family or friend, and you want to discuss them to resolve them, to fix problems or to highlight problems, or to, usually it was your complaint about what they're doing wrong and what you wanted them to change, so that you can then be happy and then feel good and then feel secure in relationships. And I want to say, first of all, that there's nothing wrong with communicating in a relationship of any kind. It's beautiful, okay? But when you're doing it from a place of you think that a other person needs to fix or stop or start doing something, you're going to have an exhausting hamster wheel conversation with them, because that is not where your power is. When you take that external focus and you put it on you, within you, I'm not saying that something's wrong with you. No, I'm actually asking you to look within and to go within to where all of your power is and where all the results lie. You will see results, and you won't even have to have the talk anymore, and I'm sure your partner is done and tired of having a relationship talk about whoever this is with, whether it's parent, child, partners, husband, wives, your friends, whatever. No one wants to have these relationships talks. They're boring, okay? The fact of being invited to the couch to go talk, I know you guys, because I used to do it, because I thought that's what you were supposed to do to fix problems, that you're supposed to talk it out. But what's behind the wanting to talk it out? Behind what talking it out is fear. It's fear that you're going to lose your relationship. It's fear that if they don't change or they don't do something differently, that you are not going to get what you want, and then you're going to be unhappy. So we get into defensive mode in trying to get ahead of any problems, even if there is none. Okay, you try to get ahead to nip it in the butt, thinking that that's going to save you and save your relationship and your happiness. Do you see? So it comes from a very loving place. It's not a bad thing, but it comes from a place of you thinking that you don't have control or power over these relationships, but you do. It's just not in the way that you were taught, or that most of us were taught, that we need to discuss everything and we need to discuss all our feelings. You guys, that is a relationship killer right there. I want to show you the ultimate relationship that you have is with you and your higher self, with you and your great I am that is within you, or you in the universe. For those of you who don't like God and scriptures, you guys, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about your higher self, the universe that's within you, that power source, God, I am, love. That is what I am referring to, is love, okay? So let's talk about relationships for a second. So this is the success story, which is just so beautiful, and I'm so happy. And this manifestation story actually belongs to Michael, and he said that I can share his name and share this story with you all to encourage you all as well to do what you want in your relationship, but to give you and show you that it is true, that you go within and it does solve everything. Okay, so the relationship talks, already got into that, right? This is what Michael's concerns were, right? This is what his story was when he first started working with me. And you guys, he held onto the story for a while, and he had a tough time seeing his kids in a different way. Now, when I'm talking to you, he's talking about his relationship with his kids, but I want to tell you that this is the same with your SP, with your significant other, your special person, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kid, your mom, your dad, your boss, whoever it is, right? Just because I'm saying him and his kids, this is is you and whoever it is that you are thinking about. Don't make this is just about kids. This is also equally effective and applicable to any relationship you have. Now, for those of you who are manifesting a specific person, if you had a breakup and you guys had a hard time with each other and you guys had a fallout or whatever, I also encourage you to stop having the relationship talk up here. Just because they're not here, you have relationship talks with them. Well, he could have done this better. Well, she should have stopped doing that. Well, he didn't appreciate me. Well, she did. These are the relationship you have with your significant others, your boss, before on your way to work, with your parents. Well, I'm so glad to be gone from there. Do you see? You're having the relationship talk, even if the person's not there. So I want you to shift over, and I'm going to show you exactly how Michael did this. So his old story was, my kids don't care. They don't appreciate me. They don't come to see me. And then he would tell me all the excuses and reasons why. When I would point him back to going within, he would be like, no, it's not possible. They're 40 minutes away, Rose, and all their friends are over there. They don't want to come over to where I live because their friends aren't over here. It's impossible. That's where they grew up. That's where they want to hang out. That's where they're going to be. There's just no way. There's no way that I can get around that. They live 40 minutes away and all their friends are over there and there's nothing over here. It's too quiet, it's too boring. It's just me. Do you see? This was his form of thinking. This was his story. He said, he said I should have moved away, or I should have moved closer to them. Instead, he moved away farther to buy his house, to start his new life. When he and his ex-wife divorced, he moved farther away to start his own life and have his own, in his own house, his own space. And then he started beating himself up and telling himself that he should have moved closer, and that now he's screwed, and he put himself in this position, and he even started talking about moving closer to them. Do you see? Taking action, trying to fix it on the outside, taking external action, thinking that that's was going to solve his problems. But what did he do? He finally got it. Yes. He said he went from that thinking to, you know what? I'm going to intend. He said he has 3 kids, and he said he can't even remember ever all 3 of his kids contacting him in the same weekend. He said, I don't even know if that ever has happened. If it happened, I can't even tell you how many years ago that happened. So he said, I'm going to test the law. He said, I'm deciding that they will all. First he said he was just going to have 1 contact him. And then he said, no. He said, I'm God. I get whatever I want. And he said, they will all contact me in the same weekend. And he said he doubted it the first day. He said it got closer to be the evening time and no contact. And he started even doubting it. He said, this isn't work. This isn't working. He even doubted it. But then he said, no, it is working. He says, I am God and I get whatever I want. Do you see? And then he went back to his assumption and he said, this is what is mine. This is what I choose. Do you see? And then a little while later, guess what? The first one contacted him. Then a little while later, the second one contacted him. And then I think the next day, the third one contacted him. And the beautiful thing is that they didn't just contact him, but what his true desire was, you guys, is to have a fun, loving, close relationship with his kids. He didn't want just them to pop in and say hi. Yeah, that's what he intended. But with working with him, his true desire is to have a close relationship with his kids where they open up and they bring him in to be a part of their lives, and the vice versa. That was his true desire. And one of them especially was struggling with something and opened up to something with his dad that he wasn't aware of. And he immediately began to say, I'm here for you. Let's do this. I'm here. I'm your support. Do you see? Not only did they just contact to say hi, no, they actually let him in. He didn't intend that. He just said that they're going to contact me to they want something or that they need something or something like that. He said, but his true desire was already known, and he wanted a deeper connection with him. And that is exactly what he got in that one weekend. So all 3 contacted him. And I love this and appreciate this so much, and I love when I get your guys' email. You guys don't see the behind the scenes, but I get all teary-eyed when I read your success stories. That's just like for me to know. But now, cat's out of the bag. He emailed me so happy and grateful for his beautiful relationships with them. And it was a beautiful, heartfelt email. And I appreciate you letting me share this story so much, Michael. Thank you. And so I wanted to share this quote with you guys, okay? And I want to share this quote, but first, why I wanted to share this with you is that he before was arguing with him. Like if one of the kids would call him or text him, he would be like, that's it? You don't want to know how I'm doing? There's no reciprocal conversation going on here? And he would get mad and get angry and yell at them, and then he'd get off the phone and huff and puff, and he would constantly try to tell them how to be in a relationship with him, and that he deserved more, or that he wanted to hear from them. He was constantly complaining about how he helped them out when they needed it, and that they were not grateful, and that the least it could have done. So he would constantly have these relationship talks when they weren't even around. He was having these talks with himself, And he would have the talks with them, and nothing would get resolved. Nothing. The only thing that he kept getting was more ignoring, more disappearing acts from them. He would get more of what he didn't want because he kept complaining, addressing the problems, focusing on the problems, trying to talk to them about it. Didn't work. None of it worked. But what worked? When he zipped it, went within to the prayer closet, which is your divine imagination, he went within and said, this is my desire and this is what I get because I know who I am. Do you see? So that is why the relationship talks are pointless, because you have so much power. All those months and years that he invested in being angry and trying to fix it and trying to fix himself, even trying to be a better dad, trying to see himself as a better dad, trying to see the situation differently. All he had to do was decide and declare who he is and what he wanted. And then he got it. That is why I say you can have relationship talks, okay? And if they're coming from a place of love. But if you're trying to fix stuff, if you're trying to get the other person to see your point of view, you're going to have that relationship talk for a long time. All you got to do is go within and decide. Now, if you are in a situation where you're being hurt in any way, the first thing you do is remove yourself from that situation. You remove yourself, and that is the first step. Always safety is the first step, and then when you remove yourself, then you have that relationship talk within. Do you see? So in case you're wondering about that kind of circumstance, okay? But I wanted to share this quote from A Course in Miracles. It says, I am the Holy Son of God himself. I cannot suffer, cannot be in pain. I cannot suffer loss nor fail. That's from the Course in Miracles. And this is in lesson 190, I believe. And it's talking about when you declare who you are, which is what Michael did. I am God. When you declare yourself, that is your true identity. I am God. That is your one and true only identity. This physical body is not your identity. To say that you have anxiety, you have an inheritance of having bad relationships, and that's all you've ever known, and that you've just had bad luck, and that's just how things are, and that you're an extrovert or introvert. That is not who you are. That is your physical 3D persona, and you can, by the way, change all that, okay? Who you really are, the Course in Miracles is saying you only have one identity, and that is that you are the Son of God. You are that divine Son of God. You are not anything else. That is who you are. And when you declare and you do this, it says you set them free. In other words, Michael had his kids imprisoned, right? He had them in prison in an undesired version of themselves. But the Course in Miracles says that you also act as the jailer, imprisoning them. So it's not just the people that are in prison that are imprisoned, but it's actually the person that's keeping them captive in prison that's also in prison. Do you see that? So when you identify yourself as I am God, I am that Son of God, right? You set yourself free first. That is the first place that has to happen. You set yourself free, right? By identifying yourself as I am the cause of everything. I am the one and only cause. And when you set yourself free, you set everyone else in your life free. You see them only as love. But you can't see another as love if you don't see yourself only as love. I've shared this with a couple of people, that there's an art installation around Chicago somewhere, and it's huge. It's like the size of a building, but what it is a big bird cage. And the bird cage is, inside of it has a bird. And the person that I was in the car with said, oh, look at that. The bird in the cage, how ironic. He's like, because everybody's trapped and stuck in their life. And then I said, whoa. I said, well, that's one way to look at it. I said, why don't you take a look at it again? I said, look at the size of the bird and look at the size of the openings of the cage. If that bird wants to, it can walk out of there and fly, because those openings of the cage are big enough for it to walk out. And this is what we're doing on The Rosey Life, is helping the world see that you are not trapped freeing your mind is freeing yourself. That is what you're doing, is identifying yourself as your true identity, not as this persona, that you are God, you are perfect, you are love. That is who you are. And when you set you free, you set everyone free. Do you see how beautiful that is? And a little other thing I wanted to add to this today too is it's funny. I was in a yoga class today. I love going to hot yoga, and I was in the yoga class, and the teacher said, you know, we're going to do the head to knee connection. It's a certain pose in yoga. And I thought, that's interesting, right? How does the head to knee connection, you know, what does it do? And then I asked the teacher after the class, and she said, oh, and I even researched it further, because then I got really curious. I'm like, what is like this head to knee thing, right? And she said it reduces anxiety. When you connect the head to your knee in the yoga position, it can reduce anxiety, it reduces fatigue, reduces depression, and increases lymphatic drainage, which starts draining your body out of toxins. And I thought, why is that just like grabbing my attention? So of course I came home and I started digging around and doing research with Bible verses and yoga, right, in the Yoga Society, and this is where I started getting more information. So in scripture, metaphysical, right, the head is the center from which the mind, which is God, Christ, consciousness, expresses ideas, itself, and thoughts. So that's what the head represents, okay? And the knee, in Hebrew and biblical, the knees represent strength, will, surrender, okay? And also the knees are used for prayer, right? When you bend a knee, it's to surrender. What are you surrendering though? You're surrendering your own strength, your own will, what you think is in this identity, this free will. So now when you connect the head and the knee connection, right? What you're doing is you're connecting the two shall become one. But my Father, the head, is greater than I, the knee. So the knee symbolizes in so many scriptures and even metaphysical and even other things, this knees represent strength, right? And you are surrendering what you think is so strong, and that will, you are surrendering it to the head, which is God. And the two become one. And that is the dynamic duo you become. Do you see? So, and that's where I love this, not my will, but thy will be done in Luke 22:12, right? So you're saying not my will, the knee, right, the strength, but thy will, the head of the body, which is mine, God, right? Not my will, but thy will be done. And yesterday we talked about what the will of God is perfection, absolute good, absolute perfection. Right? And I even remembered, like just last minute, about how we use the word knee in love songs too. Like there's a Vince Gill song called Weak in the Knees. I think it's called that. But anyway, it says, I get weak in the knees. And that he's talking about love. When I see you, when I look at you, I get weak in the knees. There's a lot of love songs with that. If you guys know, it's like, in other words, you surrender, you just become like butter, because love conquers all. Love always wins. Love never fails. Love is all there is. You guys, thank you so much for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing to The Rosey Life. And thank you guys for just being so loving. I feel your love. I feel your support. And it's going right back out to you. I love you guys so, so much. And I will see you soon, because you are really, truly all freaking amazing. Bye.